To the casters for London Conspiracy taking on Epsilon for the World Championship spot.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the commentary desk for set number 1 out of Europe today. My name is Bart, this is Brandon, and we are joined by iRaffer, the hunter from Dignitas. Renz, how are you?
This match against Titan, so I'm doing pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, feels good, I'm sure.
That Aussie, though.
Yeah, the Aussie, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was like the highlight of that game that I watched. I was like walking around a little bit trying to get set up, and yeah, I was like, I saw the Aussie proc, and I was like, we're going to have a game.
So, speaking of games, we're either going to have what could be the quickest set of the weekend or maybe even the best set of the weekend.
Yeah, well, there's been nothing has been holy so far this tournament. The top seeds struggling. Some of the, notably Enemy from North America doing quite well for themselves. London Conspiracy beating Titan. Not technically an upset, but I think a lot of people had Titan.
It's kind of an upset.
50-50 there. Well, not by seeding at least, not an upset.
It's been a crazy weekend, though. We've had a lot of strange comps come out, a lot of weird picks. We've had a lot of weird wins, a lot of weird calls. I mean, it's just land nerves getting to people. Just the way that Eager and C9 played last night. I'm still mentally burnt out from watching that.
Although, to be fair, right, like, that was very close to being a 3-0.
Yeah.
The third game,
it was, yeah.
Eager barely won in like 55 minutes.
It was a long time.
So, I mean, and that just goes to show you how much momentum matters, right? Like, after they barely win that game, they're going to win another one and nearly take the set away from Cloud9 again. So, hopefully we have something like that today, but I don't think that's the case. I think we have a 3-0 on our hands here, boys.
What do you think?
I definitely think Epsilon will take the set. Either be a 3-0 or a 3-1. I don't see LC taking 2 games or even 3.
I don't know, man. I think I believe in the miracle.
Yeah, you're going to believe in the miracle here?
Zashu had a really good set against Titan. But, I mean, this is Epsilon. They're as close to untouchable as a team has ever been.
Well, I tell you that there's only really one strategy here that's going to be operable for London Conspiracy, and it's going to be a typical kind of sports strategy. When you have a superstar in the enemy team, you got to make someone else beat you. So really the key to success here is making sure that you force somebody else on Epsilon besides adapting to win. So shutting down adapting obviously going to be very important. And force Epsilon to win some of the outside lanes without their junglers. So, now I don't really have a great plan for how they can achieve that on London Conspiracy. Jungler's tough to shut down, generally speaking, without heavy early invades. But we'll see if London Conspiracy has anything left in the tank.
So I don't know where Odin has been all week, or why Xing keeps getting through. But I mean, I really want to see Odin Zeus this weekend. I mean, it's
maybe.
like we've seen so much Odin for what seemed like no reason, all split, and now like Odin Zeus is in the meta, and everyone's like, but I really don't want to play Odin anymore. I'm just over it.
No, I think Odin is, personally looking at Odin is not very good, really. Like, he's just weak. And he's weak at like almost all stages of the game, and he's very much a one-trick pony, right? Once the ultimate is used.
But he gets to be a 2-trick pony.
I mean, Bird Bomb's okay, right? It's like good wave clear. It's really unreliable damage. He's low CC. He has a slow and a ring. He's just kind of not so as viable as many other picks for the front line.
Did you expect that Freya pick?
I definitely did not expect the Freya, no. Would have maybe expected like a support pick, because there are already 2 Guardians off the table, and LC can ban another one out, so there will not be as much Guardians available as...
Are you expecting Geb, Sobek?
Not necessarily Sobek out of iRaffer. I don't think he's played it that often.
Right.
He definitely plays Geb, though. We might see something that we haven't seen out of him, though.
Maybe ban the
I expect them to try to draft Sylvanus here, actually.
He does play it, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of his go-tos, and also it helps out Freya in that lane a little bit, stacking up the Blessingman's Blessing, the bonus life steal she gets off the bat, helping out a bit, especially versus this Neith, who's going to have the superior wave push versus the Freya for most of the laning phase. But through 6 picks here, probably London Conspiracy coming out a little bit ahead, just based on what we've seen win so far in this tournament. Their front line is going to be a little bit more resilient. Epsilon has to make up a lot of frontline beefiness here. They're going to be going into at least 3 frontliners for London Conspiracy, it looks like.
Nasha getting taken away from London Conspiracy, a shot to the replacement jungler Cherryo. I mean, we actually just watched this highlight clip, and I mean, I casted that set, and I still was watching the clip. I'm like, how many times did he hit this ult just raw?
No, Ra's the mage.
Yay! It's so early in the morning for your jokes. London Conspiracy to pick.
Shout out to Deathians there. That's the man in the back. That's the coach for London Conspiracy, coach and manager. And Young Bay, just face off camera there, standing up, looking concerned. But maybe not too concerned, as this Epsilon squad has only dropped 1 game out of 28 in this split.
So insane.
That's like a 96% win rate or something.
Tell us a little bit about it, Renz. You have to go up against Epsilon for your next game. What are you thinking?
I really wouldn't know what to think. I have no idea how to beat him down, if there's like a way to counter adapting or a way to shut him down. Wow, okay, so Sylvanus and Tier. Sylvanus, like you said, works well with the Freya. Yeah, you also have to banish into the pool combo, which is like, it's pretty reliable as well, because it's not that hard to combo off of it.
Right.
And you can even have like the double pull with Tier after it. You can put someone really far out of position.
Yeah, a couple setups there. You have the Thor stun. I mean, there's a lot of things to set up to pull in those Fearless Change. London Conspiracy going to go for a highly mobile jungler here to try to counteract some of this CC potential out of Epsilon, but Bastet's been up and down so far in this tournament. We haven't seen much of her out of Europe either. It's been primarily a North American pick.
We should talk about that. No one on London can build Runic Shield, and I feel like that is the #1 item they needed to draft into, considering Freya and Zeus being on the same team.
And Sylvanus, for that matter. I mean, those in-hands do stack up, and he fires them a lot. I mean, because Sylvanus cooldowns are pretty long, generally speaking. There's a lot of in-hand damage coming out from that character as well.
And that's not a Bastet item.
I mean, realistically, if London Conspiracy can maintain parity through the first 15 minutes of this game, that Xing 10 is going to be a big problem for this Epsilon lineup, but it all comes down to, well, the best player in the world getting his best pick on Thor.
I mean, I would just be very worried about the fact that Freya is like the one god in the game that can tear through Xing Chen.
I think that none of it really matters because it's Adapting's Thor, and if Adapting's Thor goes off and shuts down all of the lanes, it doesn't really matter what else they pick. So again, it just comes out of London Conspiracy being able to prevent him from taking over this game.
Do you think he could do this at LAN? Do you think we're going to see
maybe
LAN
not
the European Landenster?
That's a good question, right? I mean, there's Young Pei and Nethians having a handshake, it looks like. But I mean, maybe not. That is a very good question. Kind of a little bit unproven at LAN. We'll see if Adapting can do it. But it does really come down to, and listening to London Conspiracy talk about that coming into the game, if you can tilt Adapting, you can tilt the team. But we'll see.
Has Adapting ever tilted? Maybe on
I don't
Potato
know.
Boys?
I mean, listening to what most of the especially European community says about Adapting is he's basically just a robot. Like, he doesn't have feelings, and his execution and decision making is just like so
Perfect.
devoid of human input.
He never makes mistakes. You will barely see him misplay, and if he will, he somehow will make it into a good play.
You know, in Australia, we have the same thing with Ro. He had a very similar playstyle to Adapting. It was very just reminiscent of how he might make one mistake by being out of position, and he gets out of it and somehow baits the whole team to die anyway, right? And that's kind of what I'm expecting here. And he starts with red pot, double multi-pot, which means he's looking to fight.
Most interesting thing I see here in the early itemization is going to be this Transcendence rush out of the Neith going into Freya. How do you feel about that, Renz?
I think it's pretty standard to rush Transcendence on Neith. A lot of mana and the power early on will help her a lot because she's ability based, obviously.
Right.
Probably building into Soul Eater after for like the extra sustain and HP, which is pretty good against Freya, especially early on. Freya will have a hard time shredding through that extra HP. Late game it won't matter that much because Freya turns into Freya late game and will shred through
I believe we
everyone.
saw Ataraxia go for a very similar high power based Neith build to steroid those ultimates around the map.
Yeah.
So expect to see some of that, right? Less of an in-hand focus, maybe an earlier Titan's Bane than normal, if they are indeed looking for that ultimate-based Neith play. Shaggyshenk DCing for the moment here. Looks like they're going to solve some manner of technical issue. But all things told, I mean, how much of this matchup comes down to Zashu versus Dimmie in the solo lane? I mean, that's usually like a big kind of contentious point for two teams matching up. But this one, how much do you think that factors in?
I mean, Dimmie is great. Dimmie has always been good. Even when Dimmie wasn't on Epsilon, he was still considered very good.
It was a ninja Dimmie.
Right, but it's not like he is the one making these absurd plays. Like, we're not screaming his name like Adapting. By no means do I think he's a weak link, but I don't think that he is as untouchable as someone like Adapting on the team. And Zashu has proven his ability to play up into other solo laners throughout the split. I mean, he's had a few rough games, but I mean, he's on the best solo lane god in the game, going into Tier, who is maybe not always considered the best, but there's a lot of people out there that will vouch that Tier wins this matchup in lane.
Well, Tier wins a lot of matchups. Tier wins a lot of lands as well. He's always been a god that comes into the showings at lands and generally speaking performs pretty well. Another big player to look at here, especially on the side of Epsilon, Yammyn. I mean, one of the big kind of rising stars here from this squad going into this split was in Split 2 and coming into Split 3, the most dominant Giannis player
right.
on in the world. And,
just dominant player, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Well, yeah, he was playing a lot of Giannis and was doing extremely well with it. We'll see how his Zeus stacks up here, though. I think that Aero can win this lane. I think that's like maybe the best matchup in lane for London Conspiracy.
Well, I mean, you have the Clay Minions, right? Clay Minions are a great soak for the Chain Lightning, especially now with the shield. If he uses that, he's wasting 2 to 3 charges on the Chain Lightning every single time.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking at there for maybe their best matchup. And you know, we've seen this a few times so far in this tournament where teams will draft Bastet into Thor, and it seems like to me a little bit of a low percentage play because you're going to be taking a jungler that has no CC and is purely damage based into a very high CC jungler in Thor. Granted, Bastet has the mobility to keep up with him, but are they going to have enough in these team fights to keep Epsilon from running them over, especially looking at that tier? How do they lock him down?
I mean, they probably don't have to. Tier might have to draft into a decent amount of defense, and he's just looking for peel and soak, and it's going to be kind of hard to soak up, Nuwa damage who can hit everyone on the map, or Shaggyshenk who's piercing with most of his abilities, or Zashu who is literally uncontrollable at all fronts. But Renz, which solo lane, barring the players, right? Just the characters, who would you rather fight against? Would you rather fight against the Athena Neith, or would you rather fight against the Freya Sylvanus?
I think early on I would rather fight Freya Sylvanus, because Freya's kind of weak early, obviously. Sylvanus makes up for that though, but I don't think they'll beat Neith Athena early on. It would be a surprise for me anyway to see them outpush that lane. Although eventually Sylvanus Freya will definitely have the upper hand in that lane.
Freya comes
the
online.
level 1 kill potential and level 1 to 3. It would be very nice if Athena and Neith could net a kill versus this Freya Sylvanus lane. It's certainly doable with taunt into aero, but at the same time, you did mention, right, there is still that banish into pull, and if you get someone under tower and root them as Sylvanus, it's going to be an easy kill anyway. So the kill potential both ways in the lane. Favored slightly to London Conspiracy underneath tower. Epsilon getting the advantage there.
Bastet, Cherryo, Zashu about 5 seconds off of proper jungle clear timing because of the weakness of Bastet. She doesn't go into red pot, and she has one of the slowest jungle clears in the game right now. And with that, you're going to see Zashu get to lane very, very late. Kind of maybe not the way that we see Freya did. Wow, adapting, chasing him out already. First mid camp's going the way of blue.
Yeah, left side is going to be picked up by London Conspiracy here, the red squad. That'll keep us nice and even here through the first few minutes. Cherryo getting up to level 3, mid laners, or level 2, I'm sorry, mid laners. Starting to hack away at each other here. I think, obviously it's a lot more dangerous lane for Aero with the Thor ganks, although Zeus does have some trouble with Bastet, but we haven't really seen that translate very well in this tournament so far. We've seen a lot of Bastets picked into Zeus specifically without netting a lot of kills. Here, the combo we were talking about. Root coming in. No, they're not going to get that out in time.
That's damage.
Yeah.
iRaffer got the kill with an in-hand. First blood goes to Epsilon.
That's going to be a big deal here. That's going to transition iRaffer into a very early set of cooldown boots, likely around that 2-minute mark or so. He's going to have all that extra mana and more cooldowns available.
That kill was all due to Sylvanus having purple buff. Makes him autos do so much damage. And also, because Neith backflip, you'll always know where she lands.
Right.
He instantly roots after, makes Freya get another auto off. The slow stays on, makes it easier for Sylvanus to hit the auto, which he does, and secures a really good first blow.
And consider for a moment how easily that could have gone wrong if you root that Neith before she backflips. She just backflips right out of it. iRaffer holding that until she lands.
Yeah. Really good knowledge of how to play against a Neith as Sylvanus.
And while that's happening, you see Adapting and Yammyn steal the back right camps. They've already taken their back right camps. Now they're going into their back left camps. That's going to be a 3-for-1 trade into the jungle. You actually saw Cherryo go back to see if they actually did it, and then backs out of it right after. He only has boots 2 online after his first back, which actually Thor can build as well, even though he has a pot. So they're in a good spot on the side of Epsilon to start.
Yeah, this is where things get, like, if Dimmie comes up with a solo lane kill here in the next few minutes, it becomes very difficult for London Conspiracy to win this game. They'll make it very hard for themselves. Here's the first gank attempt coming out of Adapting. Looks like it's fairly well spotted out by London Conspiracy there. Yeah, they'll move out of the lane, and Adapting will be forced to run away from this one after eating.
I think he walked over a ward right before he ulted. You see 2 wards near the Gold Fury and the mid camp side. Oh, and the pull again. Actually.
Another engagement over here on the left side.
Beats 1 forced, although Freya's fine. Okay. They forced beats 1 onto Neith though. That's definitely will be shouted on comms, and Adapting will probably visit duo lane.
Yeah, you know he's smelling blood now, knowing that those are down.
emilitoo being level 5 though makes it a little bit easier to deter the gank, given the fact that Valkyrie's Discretion will basically banish him from the fight for quite some time. Only Nua being able to do damage once he's up there.
Zashu. He poked out a little bit there by Dimmie, but it is Xing. He'll start healing that back up really quickly with his passive. Plus, still some pots to boot over here in the solo lane. How close is this Neith to finishing off this Transcendence? Can we take a look at gold in hand,
Not
please?
close at all.
Yeah, it's not very close.
Normally
950 of 1400.
That early death hurting a lot.
And she already bought beats, which will delay it even more.
Oh, wow. So he's 650 of 1400. That's never coming online.
No, it'll take a really long time. Fatalis will be up way earlier. And yeah, Freya, once she gets Fatalis up, it'll be really hard for Neith.
There's going to be a very difficult timing here for Shaggyshenk, where there's going to be a Fatalis and Pen Boots Freya going into his Transcendence, probably Boots 1, while he's back in the lane.
He might not go for Boots and go straight into Soul Eater.
I think he has to, because he's going to have to stay underneath the tower. There's no way he could walk into lane with the Freya having a Fatalis plus a set of Boots online.
But if he doesn't go into Boots, he's going to lack that 40 damage that he normally would have. And with that, his ult becomes a lot less valuable, making Neith's early game even weaker.
Yeah, and that's the big reason why you pick Neith. You want to snowball early on. You want to like either gank mid or solo lane.
Just get those big ults off.
Invade.
Exactly.
Be disruptive.
Epsilon going to take an orange buff here. Dimmie's going to walk out of lane as well. They're going to take a blue buff here, potentially as well. No, they're just going to run away from Xing.
Man, this...
Because Athena rotated over. They probably knew Athena rotated over, and they were like, okay, well, we forced a rotation. We'll just back off here.
And you got an orange buff
And you got
for
the speed buff.
adapting, yeah.
It's the most valuable buff. This is great. I mean, I don't understand it because London looked incredible against Titan. It was an awesome set to watch, and now they, like... Epsilon just immediately makes them look amateur. Like, stealing...
That's just Epsilon.
That's more the difference between Titan and Epsilon than any...
I think anyway. Here you see how they should...
There we go.
Yeah. All in on to Zeus. Bastet a good pick against Zeus as well.
That should work, like, every time, right?
And look at that. Maybe a chink in the armor right there for adapting. Not a good spot for iRaffer either.
Is really good for LC.
They got this.
Yep.
Yeah, iRaffer threw out
Although
a prayer
Dimmie
there.
rotated over. If he gets a good feelers up, yeah, there you go. That's a free kill.
And he traded it back.
Maybe even two.
Got him!
That's a big rotation coming
Really
out of Dimmie.
nice rotation.
His blink was offline there as well. He just walked in and...
No,
picked
he
up
did
the
blink
souls.
in.
Did he blink? Okay,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
back up.
Yeah.
The double commentator's curse right there.
Yeah,
right.
I thought it was down because I thought he'd use it in the solo lane to reposition on Zashu, but I guess he just walked past him in the lane as those warriors.
That's what we
often
needed
do.
to see from London. Even though they definitely, I would say that was about an even trade overall. I think just showing that they can get these kills and they're willing to all in and pick the right spots might make Epsilon play with a bit more respect, because so far it's just been adapting, running around their jungle going, haha, look at me.
Yeah, well, I mean, like that's the thing is that's the reason that you pick the Bastet, and that's the reason you pick the Neith with the Bastet, is it should set up really easy kills on immobile gods, and it should be pretty easy for them to kill Yammyn at least another couple times in this lane. He does have his beats too, but without something like a sprint or a winged blade, there's no real way for him to kite the cats effectively without just trying to turn around and damage burst them before they kill him. So at least there's that working for London Conspiracy, and they've shown that they can execute it here. They've pulled the game back within 1,000 gold. It was starting to get a little bit away from them. And it's going to go up by another couple hundred here as both speed buffs are taken. You're going to see the effect of that in the net worth as Epsilon has just picked up theirs on their side. 6.5 minutes in, guys. It's 3-2. Epsilon with a small lead through the first 6 minutes.
Look at that. The 2 gets used by Zashu, and immediately Dimmie throws out one power cleave, heals himself right through all of the damage. And now Zashu's just sitting here with a low mana pool, trying to just clear the wave up.
Emerald Talisman going to be selected there by the tier as well. That's going to make that lane even more safe. I mean, there's just very little chance you're going to kill this tier now at this point. Emerald Talisman, I mean, even if Bastet comes over, he'll ult away, and
don't
cats
forget,
will be ineffective.
there's also the Nua ult that he's also mitigating now too, which becomes much less of a threat. Even at level 9, the ult doesn't do a very large amount of damage. You're getting hit for, 120 maybe, and with that Emerald Talisman, I mean, it's going to scratch him.
He'll just heal it up as well with the passive of Emerald Talisman.
Yeah, all that HP 5.
emilitoo out of position, misses the banish.
He's fine though.
But yeah, for some
He's
reason
totally
Shaggy
fine.
doesn't
It's
commit.
4v2 here, but then it was a good bait by emilitoo, and the Thor Zeus combo just kept him down so well.
Yeah, that's Wrath of Terra. If there's a Wrath of Terra going off when the Zeus ultimate is placed, it's going to be bad news. And maybe that's a little bit of insight, Brandon, into why we're not seeing the Odin, right? Because like Cataclysm, Wrath of Terra, new Zeus applies stacks so quickly. Maybe you just don't need that ring. You don't need 3 pulses to come out of the ultimate. You throw out the shield, 1 in hand plus your ultimate, you're getting max stacks right away.
That's true. I mean, the chain lightning is pretty much guaranteed now with the shields, and right there we saw iRaffer set up perfectly off Adapting's rush, and I think Ren said it, right? emilitoo's bait.
Yeah, really well played by him. They thought they could go on him because they were like 4 people were like so close to the purple buff, and emilitoo was behind Golfear just by himself, and he knew Thor was ulting, he knew Sylvanus was right around the corner, and Zeus was following him. So that was really well played by him. He didn't even have his ulti forced. He was just standing there waiting for the Thor ulti to come in.
Not to mention that Thor in that situation with the power boots plus that rank 1 pen, plus all, 4 members London Conspiracy stacked up around him. That Berserker Barrage was hitting for about 200 a pop, it looked like.
Let's check the damage charts. I mean, adapting has got to be pretty close to the front, but it's actually, wow.
Well, he's dealing, he's dealing the most damage though, right? I mean, that's normal for the solo laner to, there's a ton of chip there, right? Jungler's damage is entirely based on killing players, whereas the solo laner, there's a lot of trade between the warriors.
It's trying to push people out.
Yeah, so I mean, that 2200 that Adapting's put up so far this game is definitely the most effective damage that's been dealt. You see the Thor hunting around the Fire Giant buff. Ultimate's available. Let's listen to Epsilon's comms as Adapting goes up.
Coming mid and I can't
Beats down, beats down.
coming mid.
902, 902.
Neith coming mid,
12
I can't rotate.
I'm gonna clear
Go
this
for the
board.
Bastet again.
He's missing, Neith. He's gonna come, he's like around there, I think.
I can ward. Shank's really low. Where do you want me to ward you?
Deep, I guess.
If you can gank right line.
Ward in lane, ward in lane, ward in lane.
I can normal ward in lane.
Should we go for me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Neith
yeah.
is missing though, Neith is missing
This
though.
go on newer then.
Neith is missing, guys. Neith is missing.
Oh,
Neith
watch
is
out.
missing.
Pulling it.
Neith is in lane.
Beats down,
Get
ride
out,
them beats up, newer.
No jump on Bastet, no jump on Bastet.
Newer beats. Clear for good cast.
Neith can rotate mid, watch out, watch
I'm
out, watch
backing
out.
in right lane.
Good job.
I didn't have the ult there, but it's fine.
No.
I shouldn't have ult, that's my bad.
Just push mid, push mid.
Alright.
We can look for the, we can maybe look for the Nua now. She doesn't have ult, so.
Bastet
No
can
cat.
yes.
12:30 on Nua.
Yo, I wanna ward up here, but I don't wanna go up there alone.
Bastet's gonna beats as well. Left's just spawning, left's just spawning.
Take left.
Coming left.
Yeah, number one thing that stands out of the comms from Epsilon there, how disciplined they are with those timings. They were calling out timings for when beads were coming back up, when the Gold Fury was up, when all the beads were used. You got to assume that they're writing those into their party chat as well to reference later on.
I mean, the first thing I heard was 902, 902, 902, 1202, 1202, right? Just saying, like, these beads are down, we got to rush it. And then the same thing, you know, it was 1230, calling for Nua. They know who they want to hit. And I think maybe that's a large part of why Adapting has been so incredible is because, you know, he has this line of communication with the rest of the team calling every single gank that's going to be viable.
Well, that's actually a small victory there for London Conspiracy. They secure their purple buff. They're able to seal that one away, and as well, Cherryo is going to go and successfully invade. But in return, Epsilon will go into the enemy jungle and take away the red. But London Conspiracy still, they come up a little bit better out of that trade, ever so slightly. They got to be happy with at least securing their purple buff for their hunter and taking away a speed buff from Adapting, even at the expense of a red buff here for iRaffer.
Renz, what did you think about that rush? Tell me a little bit about the Zeus ult for the cats.
I didn't really like it. Thor could have just Berserker Barrage. I think it was up because he Berserker Barrage during the Zeus ulti as well. And the cats weren't going to do anything. They were all full HP. I think it was a bit rushed. He just wanted to play it safe, which is kind of fine. They forced a lot of beats there, so they weren't looking to fight necessarily there because iRaffer blinked in, for instance. They are waiting for that to get back up and then go in. So the Zeus ulti probably, it hasn't been used since it wasn't cooldown, so it worked out fine, although I didn't think it was necessary to use there.
Look at the respect London Conspiracy is going to be giving to Adapting here. 4 pairs of beads, 1. They just don't want to. They don't want to give anything to this enemy jungler on the side of Epsilon, and rightly so. And maybe if they can prevent Adapting from finding these kills over the next few minutes, start to get a little frustrated and start making some mistakes. That's got to be what's in the back of their mind here. 5-2 for London Conspiracy. Gold lead and experience lead continuing to slip in favor of Epsilon. London getting out farmed around the map and getting out rotated in some of these engagements, especially that one just outside of the Gold Fury.
So far, builds seem pretty normal. Zeus going into what looks like Warlock Sash. No surprise there. iRaffer going a pretty standard route. It looks into the Aura build, but you'll notice that his starter item is in the 2nd slot, which means they cannot win this game. It's not possible.
500 gold ahead is Freya over that Neith. First blood. Even going to Sylvanus.
Freya didn't even get this first one, just purely out farming. And the Gold Fury. They also did
Gold Fury helping, yeah, about 200 there. Zashu going to be in a bit of trouble. Oh, there's going to be an Athena ultimate
They got a
here as well.
Xing, Athena, and Nua ulti just for
And he's going to fight this.
Yeah,
he's going to win this.
The second leap's going to be enough to get Zashu out of the way, but that's
3 ultis.
a lot of cooldowns used there.
And bad news, boys. Gold Fury's back up.
They're going to go, Epsilon's definitely going to go force a fight here. London Conspiracy not going to have.
Well, what are you doing against Zeus at a Gold Fury? I mean, he's just going to put his ult down and laugh at you. Cherryo already in a lot of trouble, almost dead. In fact, he probably will go down.
Yeah, Freya ulti.
emilitoo going deep.
Yeah. Oh, nice Aegis though. But he still died.
Tier 2 resilient there. Berserker Barrage doesn't care about the smoke, and Adapter's going to hit it blind anyway. Yammyn, he's just going to walk out of this fight. Sylvanus is going to heal him a bit.
No.
Zashu into trouble. Fatalis is active on Freya. Should be able to walk this down. A couple more in-hands. No, that one is going to go to Dimmie. Thought Raffer's going to find another. And just fighting underneath the Tier 1 in between the towers, in fact, is Epsilon. They seem to have no cares in the world. emilZy going to do what he can. Maybe a taunt. No, he's going to go down as well. It looks like, yeah, Whisper going to be enough to secure that one. Dimmie picks up a rampage, and the solo laner for Epsilon is the one beating London Conspiracy this time around. Forget adapting. It's Dimmie's game.
5-0-0. We also have a 1-1-7 with an 8 of 9 kill participation coming out from iRaffer as well. They're going to get their second Gold Fury in 14 minutes. A far cry more aggressive than what we've seen from, I think, the rest of the teams this weekend. Epsilon now leads by over 5,000 gold.
And look at Tier's damage as well. He is so far up compared to everyone else, basically.
Epsilon making Tier look really strong right now. And I think this is like, you know, one of the secret picks, you know, one of the people that should be played against Xing. You know, there was a few people, Cyclone Spin included, saying that this matchup is in Tier's favor quite steadily. And there hasn't been a lot of proof, but Dimmie's clearly showing us the pudding on that one.
Well, you look at like what's good against Tier, and London Conspiracy, the only thing they really, I mean, generally speaking, stuns are pretty good against him. Stopping those Fearless Change can be important. But really the only character that I'd say that's like effective against Tier here is going to be the Nuoth. You need range stuns, more or less, right? Taunts, just it's too close. You're going to get picked up in the Fearless without like perfect timing. You know, Agnis and Thors and these types of things are best against Tier, and there's just nothing there to control it.
Did you see that right there? Zashu had a perfect opportunity to stop Dimmie's back, and he's like, I would rather you not be
here so I can have my blue buff, yeah.
Yeah. That is a clear sign of a solo laner who is not only scared, but
it's a clear sign of a solo laner that's three levels and 2,000 gold behind. That's what that is.
Is it 2K?
Yeah, it's 2K.
It is.
It's a flat 2K. That's not like a fudged 2K. That's 2,000 gold.
Yeah, and I mean, aside from the 300 tiers invested into Blink, that's all item spent, right? That is big trouble. He backs there to finish the Stone of Gaia up. He already had the Rune Forge Hammer before that, so he's now, I think, officially impossible to kill. And given the fact that he has a Freya and a Zeus on his team, if they try to kill him, they die.
That's best of all, right? The fact that Dimmie's getting so much penetration in the backlines here on these tier rotations, it's making so much room for Freya. emilZy going to be in a lot of trouble here. He's going to be stacked up by the Zeus. Detonate going to come through the ultimate. Adapting going to lock him in place. Spin to win. And that's 2 quick kills again for Epsilon, 11-2 now.
Perfect Thor ulti again. You see, LC thought they had a chance there to go in because Sylvanus was so far pushed up. And Epsilon knew that. Epsilon knew, okay, it was a bait again, kind of like the Gold Fury one with emilitoo. They just coordinated so well with adapting. Okay, adapting. We're gonna bait now. Just Thor ulti, and you'll hit a double.
So let's get a quick run through of the kills, right? Epsilon takes first blood in duo. London Conspiracy has an amazing play in mid to answer back with 2 kills. But since those 2, it has been 10 uncontested answers from Epsilon. That is, I think, a pretty bold statement.
You're also going to have a 10,000 net worth tier before 17 minutes, which is a crazy pace.
Right, this is usually when players are just getting Warlock Sash online.
That's a free ult.
He also tried to force Neith beats, just to scare him.
That's the best play, too.
Yeah.
Got him.
But yeah, I mean, what I was saying earlier is that there's just so much space has been created for this Freya emilitoo. Already out of the woods in Freya's early laning phase, right? 4 assists, has his demonic grip. No one can box this Freya now.
He's also second farm on his team without any kills. He's the only one on his team without kills, and still like second farm.
That's the Young Bay coaching, right? Hey man, sit in lane.
Sit in lane farm forever.
Sit in lane farm forever. Okay, everybody's there. You can rotate over lane.
Yeah, nothing like those old Young Bay versus Allied matchups.
Oh my God, stop.
No one fight ever.
PvE.
Yeah, that was some G-rated laning.
Some family fun.
Family
laning.
friendly. Why did the Urchin being started up here, it appears, or likely from the Thor, you'd say?
Spirit Robe.
Or is it Spirit Robe?
Yeah, probably
sure.
Spirit Robe. They want to max out
CDR
the CDR.
is more in vogue, certainly.
Normally, you know, this is where I call for the Mail of Renewal, but there's no reason for him to need more health.
No, I mean, the only thing that's going to kill him is going to be
He's not
CC
taking
chain.
any damage.
Yeah, I mean, CC chain's the only real problem here. A Nuoth stun hurts pretty bad, so.
But she's 0-4.
She's level 14.
Yeah. Bottom farm on the team as well. That hurts as a Nuoth. And she also invested into Beats 3 already. Her build is put back really far.
I like the Chronos Pendant, I like the boots, but this is usually about the timing where she's going to have Spear of the Magus or Obsidian Shard or something that's going to let that ult actually do damage. Her ult's level 3 right now compared to Zeus, who's about to get his level 4.
Xing Chen, I mean, he's got to be where it starts for London Conspiracy. They're going to need some serious initiation out of the Soul laner.
Uncommon Sash coming out, likely to be E-Staff.
Yeah, very likely.
Gem not going to be super effective. Another great pull from iRaffer, forcing away Aero again. Beads used. Maybe a bit of panic there.
Well, I mean, they have to respect. They don't know where adapting is on the map, and if you get pulled by the Sylvanus into a Thor stun, like we've seen 4 other times this game, that's how Aero
It's happened so often. They're just so scared of it happening again. Even though adapting was in base, they didn't know. And
look at the map. I mean, there's just no penetrating wards from London Conspiracy to see where the Thor is rotating, and that's
Epsilon
well,
have
not only is that
vision control,
yeah, I mean Epsilon having complete vision and map control, not really giving London Conspiracy those opportunities, but they got to find a way to get some of these deep wards because at the end of the day, that's how you beat a Thor is vision. You have to know where he's going to be.
The one word LC has is to defend their own speed buff. That's just how scared they are of adapting, stealing the speed buff. Right where Nuwa is walking right now, and it just got pinged out as well. Maybe Epsilon will even try to de-ward it just to deny them even more vision, but they also have a sentry ward right at the other side of the speed buff. Just shows how much pressure they have.
Look at this timing. Just right back to the Gold Fury.
Yeah, and look at where London
LC
Conspiracy
is
is on
not
the
in
map.
position at all. This is a totally free goal.
That ward that was just placed right next to the ward London Conspiracy play spotted that Athena rotation over to the right side, and then they see her going to get back camps, and it's a happy Gold Fury easily picked up here by Epsilon. Third of the game before 20 minutes, and this one is extremely one-sided. Epsilon looking like they're playing a different game.
We are, I think, approaching F6 territory at this point. It's getting to the point now where that 11,000 experience difference is going to dictate the rest of the game. Like, at this point, London can't win unless Epsilon makes horrible mistakes. And so far, they have looked as close to perfect as you could expect.
Oh.
Hey, there was one.
Yeah, that little
Hey.
mistake.
Oh, nice body blocks by emilZy.
But Shaggy's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like they were going to lose iRaffer, but no, not in fact.
No, he's too tanky. Although LC, they're still in a decent position here. Although the rotation of Zeus is gonna come in now.
Yeah, the Zeus rotation is going to hurt though. The team's going to be able to walk back through that ultimate. iRaffer still somehow not dead. Now he's finally going to go down as Bastet leaps back in, but she'll take another Zeus charge for her trouble. Dimmie now with his 7th kill before dying. He's going to continue in on the Bastet dashing forward. Fearless Chain is there. He'll have one more cleave. Doesn't matter. Down you go. A double for Dimmie and his 8th kill of this game.
Do you see these guys? Like, that was a tier Fearless at the same time as Zeus coming in, as Thor was coming in. Everything hit that center point at the same exact time. That is more than a practice team. This is just straight up talent.
And this is now basically frustration tier. Like, nothing you do is going to take more than about a 16th of his HP pool, and he has a Jotun's Wrath.
Yeah, he goes into cooldown reduction and damage. Like, that's greedy. But, I mean,
he can.
Why not?
He can.
He's level 20 already. No one is going to touch him.
He's got Gaia and the Runeforge Hammer, which is a buku HP, tons of regen, tons of protection.
And then next he gets a Spirit Robe or Mail of Renewal for free, right? And then maxes out his CDR and he's untouchable.
I tell you, I'd like to see him go maybe just straight up a Nemean Lion and just completely take Neith out of this game. I mean, there's nothing that she can do.
Wingblade or Witchblade coming up next?
It'll be Wingblade, I believe.
Go for that CDR. Slow immunities really helpful against
it's the
that
slow
squad.
immunity. I think CDR is nice to have in that situation. It's the HP and slow immunity because all he wants to do is create chaos in the back of this fight. This is going to be some trouble for Zashu. He's going to be forced to blow his leaps. If he gets pulled by iRaffer here, he's likely to die. Freya, there's just no way to peel the Freya. Nice positioning there by adapting to cut off the route, but he is going to get picked up by the Xing ultimate and into the kitties. Doesn't matter, they have that Zeus ultimate, which has been used primarily just to kill the cats, it seems like. And once again, Freya's going to press the gas pedal, and into Bastet she goes, and down will go Bastet. And on the backside, looks like Nua's going to be in some trouble as well. Beads, just a little bit too close on that wall. You saw it push her out to the left side. Aegis used by adapting there to avoid the stun from the Shining Metal. Just one member remaining over here on the right side. emilZy's going to try to ult out over to the Neith. Back over to the Neith where she's trying to deal with Tier. Tier going to try to 1v2.
And Dimmie's like, hey, thank you. More people to fight. I was getting bored with just the one. She'll dash away here.
He'll catch up. He's got 2 dashes. He's totally fine.
Ult coming up. There we go. Oh, we got the blink. He's got more.
Tier's blink is off cooldown though.
Hey,
he's gonna leave
let
it.
go. But hey, look, Fire Giant.
Yeah, space created nonetheless.
I was gonna say, look, no one standing in lava pools, no one getting knocked up. Yammyn.
Yeah, I'm just having a keck.
Just top kecking.
So I mean, I said at the beginning of this game that, you know, probably the best lane matchup that Epsilon has, London Conspiracy had, was that new wall going into Zeus.
Right.
Probably the most positive lane matchup they had, and 0-6 for aero this game.
Yeah, I actually said to one of the Epsilon roster, the members, I'm like, why is no one playing Freya when Xing gets picked? Like, why is this not happening? And he's just like, don't say anything, please. I mean, this is the only character in the game that can deal with him, because he just she just blows him up.
She can kite him, she can blow him. I mean,
and he'll catch up with him always. There's no other character as Freya that's good at
because
catching up.
Vitalis is core, right?
It's the only god that it's core on.
yeah, I guess you could run. I mean, besides that, it's pretty much the only other time you'll ever see it is going to be the Shibalanke Xbox build.
Hey, and really that's just Transonics, and it's not a good idea.
Oh, it was built on.
Zapman did build for
Yeah, Zapman built it
Oh,
the other
okay.
day, yeah. And, I mean, it's fine. I mean, it works, but you just got to be happy with hitting for 280 instead of hitting for 1,000.
Right, but if you can hit for 280 on a person who can't fight you back, right?
Right.
If you get ahead, Vitalis is a very scary thing. It's just permanent gas pedal.
It's going to be full pen Bastet here, it looks like, on the build-up. No big surprise there. Cherryo. Maybe going to start looking to split push and get some gold back on the side of London Conspiracy, taking down towers, but...
It'll be hard to split push against Tier with TP though.
Yeah, and not
Because
to mention
Shaggy
Thor.
tried to do it last fight and Tier just TP'd over and deterred
Is
both
that a
of them.
blink on Thor? Or is that... No, it's his Aegis.
No, Aegis.
That was his Aegis one.
Remember the,
That's right,
the
yeah.
new minions.
Oh, yeah.
It was a great day.
Right as I said it, I was like, oh, no, I know exactly what that is.
Yeah. Nuwa, though, we haven't seen much. Like the player damage, you can see she is on the top, but a lot of that is due to her ult. It's been ineffective damage. iRaffer very, very close, or rather, very deep in the bottom, only about 4,000 damage done, but I think the rest of the team is more than making up for that.
Well, I mean, Rafford did the 300 damage that he did to Neith in the early game was all that mattered. In will come adapting, and back will go out Shaggyshenk. That's an easy confirm on the stun. Spin to win, going to be just off the mark. Shaggyshenk's going to need a root. Dimmie off the mark with a Fearless Chain. That would have been a secured kill, but instead Epsilon will, they'll just have to settle for a tier 2 tower. Not a bad consolation. In the meantime, Bastet will split push. Cat's going to be dropped most likely over here on the tier 2.
I don't think so. There's a full minion wave. She probably doesn't need to...
she could save it for the Phoenix and try to rush it down if she gets the opportunity. The issue is the team is bleeding here in the middle lane.
It'll be a base race that Epsilon is going to win all of the time.
Cherryo still pushing. Not going to get much out of this. You'll actually notice that
he is backing.
The 4 of them were pushing in the tier 2, while iRaffer was pushing up the mid lane to make sure they had those creeps in there. Just such smart play all around.
Wrath of Terra, Zeus ultimate used at the same time here. That's going to be a kill confirmed for emilitoo. Going up into Valkyrie's Discretion over the wall. That's going to be another kill and a second Phoenix going the way of Epsilon. This one got out of hand in a hurry, and Epsilon is now poised to walk into the base and take it. Cherryo with a last-ditch red pot onto this Bastet. 26 minutes into the game, the Titan is going to fall. No way I can stand up to this onslaught of the Zeus.
Yammyn throwing down his beads, and yeah, 25.5 minutes. I think that was our quickest game this week so far.
Yeah, I think besides that we had a couple 30-minute games, but nothing sub 30.
Nothing
Epsilon.
quite as confident as that, I would say, as well. Epsilon looking pretty golden throughout that entire rush.
Epsilon showing up and looking like Epsilon, more or less.
Yeah, they kept being dominant as they were in the fall split, and if they keep going like this, I don't see any other way than this being a 3-0.
I don't think any team has met expectations at LAN as well as they just have right there. I mean, granted,
Indeed.
We saw Cloud9 and Titan last year at Worlds where Cloud9 absolutely bodied Titan for 2 games, and then Titan came out of nowhere and forced Game 5. Like it's definitely not over by any means, but if it keeps playing like that, this is like an 80-minute total game.
To be fair, Cloud9 almost got reverse swept yesterday.
That's true.
There's a chance for it, but I mean, all things told, Epsilon looks unbeatable. I mean, that was extremely dominant, and yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it would be nice to see Epsilon lose so that we get them in the 3rd place match so we can see how they really stack up against these North American squads. But like right now, they're definitely beating that Envy team. There's no question with how Envy's playing.
I don't think anyone from North America is matching up against that right now.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, maybe Cloud9 can take them at least a run for the money.
Who knows?
Yeah, and maybe Enemy, yeah. But I mean, coming into today, yesterday it was like, a couple days ago, you're looking at it, you're like, okay, there should be a pretty big gap between this enemy squad
and TSM.
Enemy overcomes that. You know, the players are kind of like, oh, you better watch out for Enemy. No one was coming in today going, better watch out for London Conspiracy. Epsilon's going to struggle with them. I mean, this is a very, very one-sided matchup, I think. And Epsilon, I mean, they're coming to play. They're not coming off that gas pedal at all. And also the first Freya we've seen this tournament.
Yeah, that's true. And
I play Freya.
Did you play her?
I didn't go that well, so we'll not talk about it.
What match did you? I guess you did. Yeah.
Against Paradigm one game.
Yeah.
Kevin's high heels are ready for us, apparently, as he takes Kelly Link's spot today. Game 1's in the books. We're going to go to the Analyst Lounge to check in with just the boys.
These aren't high heels. I don't get it. I didn't get the joke. Guys, welcome back to the Analyst Lounge, though. Epsilon handedly defeating London Conspiracy. I believe probably the most one-sided match we've seen all tournament. Is this kind of what we expected, Toli?
Yeah, absolutely. Like right off the bat, the first blood with the Sylvanus play. So we had the whoop into the pull into the root after the backflip from iRaffer, setting up the first blood, was just so perfectly executed. And all throughout the whole game, Epsilon, every player from Epsilon just played lights out, I feel.
That was probably one of the cleanest plays I've seen all tournament, just the execution. Because honestly, before Shaggyshenk even hit the ground, that pull was through. I mean, that clearly looked like an executed in practice play.
Yeah, it definitely was. That's the synergy showing there. The scrim's paying off definitely. Like, the synergy is just on point. The timing nailed down to perfection.
Timing, I think, was the key. There, we actually listened into Epsilon a little bit. I know you guys couldn't hear, but we could. And all we heard was just timings on beads, on ults, on buffs. Like, they were just screaming out timers. Probably a big one, I think, that we took note of was the 420 invade onto the speed buff, where Adapting kind of just blazed through into the jungle. He threw the hammer over and stole the speed buff away. How important is it keeping those timers up?
I mean, it all comes down to discipline, right? No matter what you're doing in the game, it's discipline. It's when are you going in, when are you backing out, when are you taking timers, are you trying to get the beads? This is something that LC did very well against us, where they were getting the beads, they were getting all the timers, and they went on it when they could. And it's something they kind of struggled with this game, but Epsilon did very well. I mean, we saw the first kill for LC in mid with the Bastet cats, the Neith snipe. Everything was there on point, and then they never did it again. I'm not sure what was missing there.
And to follow up off that, they got their combo down, and then in rotates Dimmie, player of the game for that one clearly, and picks up a double off it. So LC, they kind of got that excitement, and then it was very quickly drained away.
Again, that's the discipline, right? Of being ready for that rotation, and they just weren't ready. They were so focused on getting those kills, and then the discipline's just gone after they've gotten them.
Yeah, we saw right here the double kill for Dimmie around the 5-minute mark. He was able to get a nice, beautiful double fearless before the Nuwa could even react with the ulti. They just were not expecting this perfect rotation, and it was just beautifully executed also by the Sylvanus roots and the ultis to set him up here in the mid lane. As I believe that was a 3-for-0 in Gold Fury later on.
Totally. Is this tier or is this just Dimmie?
This is a little bit of both, honestly. So they gave up the Xing Chen knowing that Zashu would favor it, and then they picked up the tier to kind of make it more of a factor. So like whenever you have Xing Chen in your backline, you need to have a presence in the enemy's backline, and what other god in tier?
I want to talk to Bird here because as we were watching the game, literally I heard, just Dimmie thinks, just Dimmie thinks, just Dimmie thinks. I mean, Dimmie is just very mechanically sound, one of the best players in Europe, clearly. How do you coach against that? Because you are a coach for Tian, and you know, not all your players are always going to be all-stars. How do you coach and tell someone how to play against someone who's just this good?
I think that's the big thing with Epsilon, is that Dimmie isn't really an all-star because of adapting. Like, if you put Dimmie on any other roster, in any team, like on NA, EU, Australia, whatever it is, he's an all-star. He is the best player there. But since adapting has all this hype around him, and it's so, you want to focus adapting, everyone always says you need to focus adapting and Yammyn do all the work, and then Dimmie comes in and goes 9-0. It's so hard to really think about it even, because you have to look past all the other all-stars on the team.
I think this was the one where we see the perfect double ulti from Thor, setting up the Sylvanus and the Zeus ulti. And yeah, with this adapting Thor, they're going to have to ban it, I think, this next game. They can't let him have it. Similar to, like, you know, Gars on TSM and Annister in C9.
Are you banning Thor here in this game, Shadow?
Probably after that, honestly. But then again, you can't really ban out adapting. You're just going to play something just as equally strong and pretty much do the same thing with the wombo combos all over the map.
So Epsilon, they were actually able to choose. They had higher seed there, so they were able to choose side. They chose that first pick. Now London Conspiracy coming off the loss, they could choose. Do you think they should switch it up, Shadow?
I think they go for first pick, honestly, LC. I think they should switch it up just to, because first pick seems to have the ban control right now, so you always get that first pick and take Zeus, Xing Ting, wherever you want just to control the game, and then you just got to hope Epsilon don't have a preset plan to counter wherever you're going to do. What
do you think London Conspiracy should look to draft a team around? Assuming, I'd say we can assume Hell is banned out. Do you look for the Xing again? Because apparently, I mean, Epsilon have a plan against it, or is there something else they should highlight?
I don't know, like the Xing's so strong, but it seems Epsilon can play against it. So I think you want to look for something else. Maybe the Zeus, it's an all-round good pick in mid. You can't really go wrong with that. Or maybe even a Thor just to deny it from adapting.
All right, guys, game's about to get ready. One quick ask, though. I'm assuming it's going to be the same across the board. You predicted 3-0, you predicted 3-0, so I guess we'll just ask Shadow again. Is it still the 3-1?
I think LC might still take one game, so I'm sticking with 3-1.
We'll have to see if the casters feel the same way, guys. London Conspiracy taking on Epsilon. Epsilon up the 1 game.